Prime Minister who wasn't elected but named the de facto successor to a man accused of corruption. The other, a veteran who heads Nepal's first government since the country adopted a new constitution. Both are friends of the big Asian neighbor, China. Both are the authors of allegations against their other big neighbor, India. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi is in Nepal on a two-day visit to meet with his counterpart, Nepal's Prime Minister KPS Oli, and India, understandably, is watching closely. On the surface of it, the trip is part of Pakistan's quote-unquote outreach effort. That's hardly a wonder given the devastating reputation as the motherlode of terrorism that Pakistan has earned for itself all over the world. And of course, the two countries intend to strengthen trade and other ties too. Let's take a look at what's on the cards. A state run by the military and secret service like Pakistan is not exactly the epitome of democracy itself, and yet Prime Minister Abbasi will congratulate Nepal on successfully rewriting its post-monarchy constitution. Trade, tourism, defence and education ties between the two countries will also be discussed, as will the revival of the South Asian grouping SAARC, which has been crippled by Islamabad's refusal to stop training, arming and recruiting terrorists to attack India. Without India's presence, SAARC will never be revived. But New Delhi's hackles will rise over people-to-people contact between the Muslim-majority Pakistan and Hindu-majority Nepal. For India, which is home to the world's third-largest Muslim population, this is not a question of the Hindu religion alone that Nepal and India share. Rather, it's the mutual distrust of India that Pakistan and Nepal share. In the past, remember, Nepal has allowed Pakistan-trained terrorists to take shelter in transit and then creep across the porous Nepal-India border to carry out bloody strikes in India. Pakistan's ISI frequently uses Nepal as a terror base. From there, it infiltrates the terrorists it has trained and armed across the porous 1850-kilometer border to India. Some names of these people trained by Pakistan include Hizbul Mujahideen's Nasir Ahmad, the Lashkar-e-Toiba's bomb expert Abdul Tunda, and the founder of the so-called Indian Mujahideen Yasin Bhatkal. All these men were arrested by Indian border security forces. Gangster Dawood Ibrahim, whom Pakistan now shelters, uses Nepal frequently to oversee his illegal operations in India. And finally, Nepal is an ideal transit point for Islamabad to pump fake Indian currency into India to destabilize India's economy. India will also be watching Nepal and Pakistan as they intensify their military cooperation. Both China and Pakistan have offered the Royal Army of Nepal arms and equipment to fight the country's long Maoist uprising, and China has for long been eyeing both countries as key points along its China-Pakistan economic corridor, a part of Beijing's worldwide Silk Route revival. So this is a meeting that has to be watched closely.